Thank you very much, Jim. Would everyone take out your books, turn to page 53. We're going to have a pop quiz. It was, I had a flashback there. I'm sorry. Now, in talking about ecotourism, I think first we have to look at the whole general subject of tourism. And as you can imagine, with the economy over the past several years, it's taken quite a hit. But it is beginning to make a comeback. The thing with, shall we say, general tourism is that it is a consumptive activity. It exploits the resources around it. And ecotourism takes a very different tact. When you look at marine ecotourism as a whole, I mean, that takes in quite a few activities. It takes in diving and snorkeling. It takes in whale watching. It takes in kayaking. Dive ecotourism is a wonderfully unique form of ecotourism in that, as you've seen with some of the videos, it really immerses you into the particular environment, more so than a lot of the other activities. Now, ecotourism has many goals, but there's one really overarching goal, and that is to turn amusement into awareness and to turn entertainment into enlightenment. And so the question is, well, how is it different from regular tourism? Well, in 2003, there was a publication, Marine Ecotourism Issues and Experiences, and the authors basically kind of put it down into 5 steps. One is to minimize the negative impact on the natural environment. Secondly is to strive to even conserve that local environment. Third is to emphasize learning and interpretation, which you saw in Holly's previous presentation, working with the kids on the boat at the resort, and also to motivate the visitors to re-examine their whole purpose, their whole impact on not only that environment but the world in general. And then also, it's often an activity that gives back to the local community, both culturally and economically. It's actually a big driver of local employment, which generates revenue, which particularly in some of these developing countries, some of these tropical islands, this is a very important factor. Now, I have a short video here that I like to run. It's one that I put together for Google Earth for their ocean layer, and it looks at Isla Guadalupe, which is an island off of Baja, California, where there's a population of great white sharks there. And there are quite a few operators that go down to Guadalupe, and for many of the operators, they treat it as a shark diving adventure activity, but several of the operators take a much more ecotourism approach. Yes, can we get the lights again?
It's early morning at Isla Guadalupe, and divers are preparing to enter cages to view one of the ocean's most mysterious predators. But there's an evolution taking place. Shark diving is becoming shark ecotourism, and with that, a greater sense of responsibility to shark conservation. While still an exciting adventure for the participants, shark ecotourism is also an important opportunity for people to see and appreciate these animals in their natural environment and learn more about how we can protect them. At Isla Guadalupe, shark ecotourism provides researchers with a convenient platform by which to conduct tagging and other studies of great white sharks. And the boats act as watchguards, keeping an eye out for any illegal shark fishing activity. Worldwide, responsible ecotourism operators ensure not only the safety of the participants, but also that of the sharks, while supporting conservation, education, and shark research efforts. Those are the benchmarks by which these activities should be judged. Education, appreciation, and respect. Three important cornerstones to help save the ocean's sharks.
Now, some of the operators here will initiate some of these ecotourism or eco-friendly type measures. It'll vary from business to business based on what the business might be able to basically afford or initiate, or in terms of a resort, what kind of infrastructure is there that they're already dealing with, and what kind of eco measures they can introduce. It's great to see what they're doing with some of these operators down in Isla Guadalupe, because I've been there many times on various assignments, and when I've been on a boat with just paying customers, I'll see at the beginning of the trip the usual kind of, well, I'm trying to overcome my fear of this terrible shark I've heard about. Or sometimes they come in with the testosterone all pumped up, and I'm going to brave the great white shark. And then when they get to meet the researchers and they get to learn about what's going on and the predicament that these animals face, as all sharks do, then by the end of the trip, I see these 180-degree head spins. And these same people who got on the boat saying, I want to be Mr. Macho, at the end of the trip are saying, what can I do? What can I do to help? So it's a terrific benefit that the ecotourism provides in setting the mindset for people. But it's important to understand, well, what is sustainable ecotourism? We have to understand ecotourism is a business. And so you figure, well, as any business, they have to have a good financial bottom line. Well, there's actually more to it than that. In the Earth Summit in 1992, they put forward the idea of a triple bottom line, one that did include financial sustainability, more long-term sustainability. You know, if you don't go into ecotourism expecting to get rich quick. It's more of a long-term venture. There's the environmental sustainability. Obviously, particularly with dive ecotourism, they want to make sure that what they're doing, what they're able to contribute, helps to support the marine environment, because this is the very thing that they are promoting to their customers. And then also there is the social responsibility. This is the giving back to the local community, whether it's in terms of providing employment, revenue to the company or to the government through the payment of permit fees to sometimes dive in some protected areas, or it might just be helping out with the education, the local education, or even just bringing in medical or health supplies. So these are three key things that really work together to bring about a successful ecotourism operation. Now, also, one of the things that a dive ecotourism operator focuses on is good protocols. And there's a variety of them that they can initiate. Things like limiting the number of divers. There was a dive operation in Borneo that got started several decades ago, and it grew and was becoming very popular. And to his credit, the owner of that operation shut it down and reorganized it and limited the number of divers, because he saw the impact of what we call diver pressure, just too many divers, in essence, loving the reefs to death. Another thing that can be done is at dive sites is to use moorings rather than dropping anchors. You can imagine at a popular dive location, boats coming in daily and dropping anchors every day on the reef. That begins to have an impact. Also, they select dive sites and access these dive sites on a rotation basis. That's also a way to limit the diver pressure. And then also, kind of ran past there quick, also marine life interaction, setting the protocols for the divers to understand, you're not going to get a chance to ride on the back of a manta ray or grab a ride on a turtle. Or if we are going to have any kind of fish feeding, it's going to be very controlled. We don't want to do anything that interrupts the normal feeding behavior of the fish. So how do you find it? If you're excited about ecotourism, how do you find dive ecotourism? Well, online searches. I mean, if you can find a chrome-plated swizzle stick on Google, you can find a dive ecotourism operator. Also, dive publications are a good resource, and dive travel agencies. Dive travel agents are becoming more attuned to ecotourism demands from the customers. There are also ecotourism associations. The International Ecotourism Society is one of the biggest ones. Also, the United Nations is involved in tourism because they see the benefits, the financial, economic benefits for some of these developing nations. And even IUCN, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, they even have a tourism and protected area specialist group. But the key thing is for you to ask questions. You want to be able to ask the questions as to what they're doing, what type of eco-friendly policies and protocols they have in place. Now, I've had to close here. I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of different sharks, and we understand. Many of you are familiar with the shark situation, and you understand the role that sharks play in the marine environment. What we have to ask ourselves is what is humankind's role? And ecotourism can help with this. If you look at nature if you look at the environment as a house of nature, we are not the landlords of that house. We are just simply a tenant along with many other tenants living there. And with ecotourism, the ability to travel and see these animals in a non-destructive way, in essence, we're able to kind of travel around inside that house of nature like a welcome visitor, as opposed to those relatives that come to visit, and after 2 days, you wish they'd leave because they've been spilling coffee all over the rug. So ecotourism can play a very important role in supporting conservation and helps with the awareness for all of you. So hopefully you'd be considering ecotourism as you think of traveling throughout the world. Thank you very much.